All right, everyone. Hope everything's calm today. It is what, Thursday, October 2nd, I believe. And today we're going to be interviewing Big Mike from New York. And man, you're in for a treat. If you don't know who this is, I'll just say when it comes to just from what I've seen, waving and just body control and animation and character and all of these qualities, Big Mike really excels at. So I'm excited to hear his story and how he got into the dance and yeah, just his journey, his mindset. Yeah, I feel this is a person that the dance community should know about if you don't know already. But let's get started. Let's see.
Am I live?
Yes, sir. I hear the voice. Hey. Yeah, oh no, it's glitching. It's lagging. We're lagging. Oh, oh, no, uh, e- oh,
Unfortunately, I thought my headphones would work, but they're not working with this. I don't know why,
oh
but
no.
whatever.
Okay. You can still hear me, but it's not as. I hear you on that.
Yeah, I can definitely hear you, but it's not as I'd probably have to do what is it? No, everything is, of course, everything is up, but forgive this old soul of with the new engineering, but we're here.
All right, all right. Yeah, we'll work with it. We'll work with what we got. But yeah, yeah, man. Wow. I mean, yeah, thank you for finding time for to be here and thank you for finding time to share your story and just a little bit backstory for everyone else that's just joining or uh, just tuning in for the first time. This Big Mike, man, I don't even know where I first saw you. I think the first clip I think I saw of you was it was a clip you were in Homeland and you were doing the back wave. I think Boogie Frantic was recording it or I think so. And this was years ago. And it was just incredible. Again, just the back. I feel like I've seen the back wave and here and there and flexing and pop, but just the way you played with it, really expanding it. I was like, wow. And then I know anime. That's another dancer in New York, like Flex.
Bobby anime, yeah, Bobby.
Yes, I know him. I've met him, and somehow maybe somehow social media figuring out you guys were connected in a sense. Um, but then also I think just seeing you dropping those clips on Instagram of just like your classes that you're teaching, it looked like it was just like a it must have been after class or something. You were like singing and you were animating at the same time. I think it was like Japanese. You were like singing something in Japanese. And
That was the Japanese version of Pocket Computer by oh my goodness, why would I forget their name? Minimum Maximum with Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk.
oh, okay, okay. So
Hmm.
that was so crazy, so entertaining, man, and just I think every time I see you post something, I feel so it's like you feel good, positive watching you dance. Like it seems like it feels so light, it feels so like the playfulness, like that child playfulness, creativity, but then at such a high technical level. And it's just, I think I messaged, I was like, "Yo, you're an alien! Like you're an alien! Like it's so fun. I don't know how to explain it. It's just an energy that I feel." But yeah, and then I think Hayes, the waver in New York, she said about because I was looking for history on waving and she mentioned your name. She's like, "Yeah, Big Mike knows about the waving scene in New York, the East Coast." Um, so yeah, man, I'm just excited to be able to kind of, you know, go into different directions in our conversation. where you how it started. I guess that's where we could begin is your journey where you started, and then we'll just go from there. But yeah, man, how yeah.
Well, I first of all thank you because you know, for those who know, when I'm around people, I talk their ear off, but I don't always talk online so much.
Hmm.
So that being said, thank you, and congratulations on all your success, sir.
Ah,
All that success, sir.
thank you, man. Thank you.
Because that's been good. I am, I think I have that what Dave Chappelle said, where you're like 30% human, like you're 30%, um, uh, you stand up for rights and all that, but then you're 70% comedian. I kind of, I'm like that in terms of artists in general, especially dancing, where I will almost illogically stand with our sisters and brothers of dance, no matter what style it is,
Mhm.
because I think it's important. You know, people keep saying dancing saved my life. I'm like, that's God and whatever spiritual system that you believe in. That's that working through you. So if that's the case, then I always give a heart and a keep going to you and everyone else. Though it almost doesn't matter who. That said, in the beginning there was
In the
cold
beginning.
dog and so in Brooklyn, my family is very musical. My grandfather, he was a jazz singer, musician, and you know, in the house there was always music. But I was never going to be a dancer or anything. My aunt will tell you I have footage of him at age 4 at my wedding going off, but it wasn't something that I was going to do because I was so much what they call now a nerd,
Hmm.
and you woke up in the 80s. You hated school, mind you. I went to a really bad Catholic school in
Hmm.
Brooklyn,
Oh.
called St. John's Elementary. You can look it
Hmm.
up. In Brooklyn, for me, when I was growing up, you watched Thundercats, you watched Silverhawks, you did Gummy Bears came later. You did the real Ghostbusters. You watched Looney Tunes, and to remark with Dave Chappelle, Looney Tunes is kind of like a child's first skit comedy.
Hmm.
It's also a musical comedy. So everything is kind of on beat.
Right.
Everything is literally drawn toward movement, music, and visual, and then the storytelling, and then the joke.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is why I never really dealt with Mickey Mouse. Not to hate on him because I play Kingdom Hearts, but listen, when you wanted to laugh, you was gonna watch some Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry,
Right.
Woody Woodpecker. You were gonna watch your comedians, and as a kid, those were our comedians. Bullwinkle, Rocky, all the old school.
Yes.
But our at that time new school was Transformers. I carried that love. Aliens, John Carpenter's The Thing, The Fly, those moments in the '80s and those movies, because CG wasn't prevalent yet. It was almost like everything was real,
Hmm.
and because of that, Star Trek, Star Wars, any all the Ray Harryhausen was there, but also there was this evolution of storytelling and effects and this. So for me, that, and then of course video games came in. And in New York and California are video game states. I don't care what anyone says. We all know this.
Hmm.
Um, why fighting games are so important on the East Coast, right? Like it's
Hmm.
it's real like that.
Hmm.
So the fight to even like play a video game or play that thirst, you would almost sneak into a movie theater to see something. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because it's important to talk about socially, like at that same time, breaking was happening. New York boogie was happening at the same time. Crack was happening at the same time. A lot of not nice things were happening, and those things, with the juxtaposition of how my family is also very religious, that all fed into what I do, or what I enjoyed. I just didn't know it yet until way later, because you're young, you're just a kid, come with me to Woolworths and just hold on to me, as a
Right.
kid, I'm like, okay, but you see somebody on over there, and you're like, oh, you know. So because of that, when it came to dancing, I was always in and out, but I was always listening to music, but it was never a thing that I thought, oh, I was going to do until high school.
Hmm.
And high school, I met three of my best friends, even though, one of them I don't, we don't talk as much anymore. But I met, your life changes when you get friends and a girlfriend, right? And that's what happened in high school. I had a huge growth spurt, and it was crazy.
Hmm.
I was like 5 foot something, and then I turned out to be 6'2" in a year. I was going to be a writer. I wasn't going to lift anything. And somebody was like, "Yeah, go to the weight room. Yeah, play basketball. Yeah, play handball." And I was like, "What? I'm not going to play those things," until I started to get good at them.
Then,
So when I met, it was Rue, the Rue 2000 Rue at the time. Boss, Rob Moore, we call Batman or Bat Rob, and finally through Rue, because Rue was kind of like a all around good dancer. He was like a person who could do salsa, bachata, then he can break, then he can house, capoeira. You know what I mean? He was
okay.
one of those fixtures of being good at almost everything.
Okay.
But his friend Crazy Pop,
Hmm.
who became my brother instantly, we were doing Bruck Up in high school. We
Oh.
were doing Bruck Up. And although the Caribbean situation was there, I always noticed that they waved, that they stopped. I was like, what's that? What's that? That they glided a heck of a lot.
Hmm.
And I was always like, what is that? And then Crazy Pop, he was the one who was a Michael Jackson fan, but he was doing a robot.
Hmm.
And thus, here we are sweating, doing all, backflip, people backflipping on train at the train stations, and gong, 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 all this stuff. And he would just go boom, bam, and I would be like, why is he killing us with one move with his arm? Why is this happening? And it wasn't until I realized what he was dedicating himself to,
Hmm.
um, that I said, okay, so I'm already kind of good at waving. Well, not good, but I felt confident, and
Hmm.
I wasn't gonna stop. So it wasn't something I said, oh, I got to stop waving. No, you just add on.
Hmm.
So I said, but I'm going to learn how to do these what are they called? Dime stops. Yeah, I'm going to learn how to do that. I'm just going to continue every day, just animate everything, everything,
Wow.
everything, every freaking thing. Because I said, there's more power in this person stopping than there is in me backflipping, than there is in somebody doing this, I do a lot of splits. This guy, I mean, he would come up, boom, right on point and right in the music, and I'm sitting there like, this is more powerful than anything I've ever seen in my life. And at that time, I saw a lot. I saw a lot of people do. It was almost like I watched people backflip off walls during their battles in lunchrooms. I
Wow.
watched somebody go slide under a lunch table and come back up and boom. Like there was
Wow.
what didn't we do? What didn't we
Yes.
do? It was
Wow.
almost what would Reggie, me and Reggie. It was me, Reggie, uh, um, Rue, and quite a few of us. We all went to the same high school, Franklin K. Lane in Brooklyn,
Hmm.
and like what didn't you see? Like it was like somebody grabbed somebody's bag, somebody ate fruit, and so I remember one person went from one end to the other end of the lunchroom and literally frolicked during their set, and we're like, how, like it was like a, and funny enough, that high school was supposed to be for law.
Ah, that's funny.
That that was the last thing that was being done. It was either media room, maybe some debate room, wrestling, weightlifting, basketball, and handball, and that was it. So so we saw so much, but when I saw Crazy Pop, I said, and I'd already looked, once again, coming from a musical family, I already loved Mike, Michael Jackson. I already there, I was there with that. I watched Breaking when that first came out. Me and my cousin, I was watching, it's like, wow. And I always knew what those guys are doing is interesting, but seeing it in person from a person,
Wow.
that just changed my whole situation because I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But every time I saw Crazy Pop, I said, no, I'm gonna practice dime stopping everything on the planet that I can possibly do and I can possibly get away with. And
Wow.
then Rue went to this place called The Door,
Hmm.
where that's where I met Quick Step and Rockefeller,
Hmm.
of Full Circle.
Hmm.
Full Circle, Quick Step and Rock, they had been breaking by that time. They were already almost vetted veterans in some way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
By that time, this is 2001, 2002.
Okay.
I met Baba, Israel, Yakko. I met, we it was like the artist hub in some way for kids who were seen as like a trouble, or they had troubled past.
Hmm.
That was the first time I really watched a Vogue situation happen as well, which was really cool too. So it was kind of an epicenter. And when I met Quick and Rock, see, they had already performed with Jazzy J a billion times. They had already performed with Stretch, Buddha
Okay.
Stretch, and them. You know what I mean? So I met these people when I met them, and I said, "Oh, dancing isn't just us in school. This is a thing. This is." I mean,
Hmm.
I knew my, but I didn't always see everyone do it at a caliber where that's what they focused on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because as you know, a performer's situation is lighting, sound check, music,
Right. Yeah.
voice, vocal, da da da, all of these things. Then the dancing, then
Yes.
the this, then the so I was astounded on the fact that you could dance, you could be a capoeira person, you could be, and I was like, yeah, I think this is driving me toward that. I was also, I used to do improvisational theater. I was learning improvisation
Oh wow.
from this place called Faces.
Hmm.
Faces was a place that I met Zoe Zaldana actually.
Hmm. I'm not
Uh,
familiar. Who?
Zoe Zaldana, she's the actress who plays Gramora in the Avengers, and
Ah,
yeah,
now I
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I met her, and I met there was a whole bunch of talent there that was amazing. Phil, there
Wow.
was a lot of people. Dave and Susan Montez ran that program, and it was great. But it started to be like all of those skills that I was learning was like, yeah, it's crossing over to dancing though.
Hmm.
It was like as if dancing was the thing, and it was just absorbing and coming back and doing the things that I loved.
Right. Okay.
Now, the worst part or the best part,
Hmm.
I'm into video games.
Okay.
So so I'm playing music and I'm listening, and the 90s, the 80s was one thing, right? There's the chipset, right? Like everyone talks about, Contra,
Hmm. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mario,
Yep.
Castlevania.
Yes.
That's all assured.
Hmm.
But when you get to the 90s, because of the chips becoming much better, well, now you're hearing house. Now
Uh,
you're hearing techno. Now you're
yeah.
hearing hip hop. Now you're not just hearing one idea of something. Now you're hearing a whole bunch of situations, especially when you hear some of the RPGs in the 90s, Castlevania, especially when it gets to Symphony of the Night and Dracula X, aka Rondo Blood,
Wow.
um, you start to hear mad stuff, and that just Donkey Kong Country that just
Yep.
feeds
Yep.
that just fed the whole situation. So now I'm sitting here in the 2000s, like, okay, there's funk, there's jazz, there's this, then there's all of this, and there's all of this, and I remember finally talking to Fish in
Hmm.
2003, and he was like, you know, you know how to. It was 2004. He's like, you know how to animate, you know how to wave. All you gotta do is learn how to hit, and that's it.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
And he was then, but then he by proximity, as he was introducing me to the LA situation or the where he grew up in, I'm showing him like me and Crazy Pop showing him our ideas of stuff, and he's like, oh shit. And then he's the one who was like, well, you basically animate.
Well, you basically
You
animate. He said that. Okay.
Yeah, he was like, you basically animate. You guys animate. And then even in a battle, I think it was because Rue ended up being once again kind of like one of the pillars in the early 2000s, and he used to run a thing called an event, wonderful event called Kings of New York,
Hmm.
and I mean, breaking centric as it was, he always made sure that there was a popping situation. Once again, in general, a great dancer. Like he could do
Hmm.
how he's one of those guys that in his sleep he can dance excellently.
Nice.
But when he did that, I remember Fish had judged one of the battles, the second one. It was Fish and Hypno, which I'm gonna get to
Okay.
Union Square in a second.
Uh-huh.
Hypno, Tiny Love,
Oh,
Live
yes.
Elements.
Yep.
We'll get into. I'm gonna get into. I got you.
Okay.
Um, and I don't even want to make a run-on sentence, but I'm just trying to add it up, for you, so that you could hear.
Yes.
In one of the battles, and I saw it when he talked to Jazzy and said, "See," because I started to animate to "Burn Rubber on Me."
Hmm.
Da 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 da.
Hmm.
And he was like, "See, I want people to animate more again."
Fish said
And
this.
when I saw that, I said, "Yeah, it's on a clip. It's you can see it when I'm doing it
Okay.
actually at the Kings of New York battle." And it's funny because he always fish. Although everyone was like, "Yeah, hit," he brought hitting to New York, but I was like, actually, he also brought what I felt like he brought to New York outside of hitting was learning to develop your own stuff.
Hmm.
Um, None of his people looked the same. Kareem 10, Loco, Siegfried, Siggy, Oz. Nobody looked the same.
Hmm.
Monster Pop, nobody looked the same.
Right.
Nobody looked the same. And
Right.
I think his idea was always, even though you got to learn how to hit or dime or wave or you're going to do it, but you need to find to do it who you are, your way.
Hmm.
So that was a big thing for me. And then we get to the Union Square years, which is also mixed in 2000, 2002, 2003.
Hmm.
I mean, Dementia,
Oh,
Hypno,
yes.
Tiny, uh, Elastic, Fantastic Elastic, Dr. Funk. And that was like the moment where I realized, oh shoot, these are my people.
Wow.
Because you go to Union Square and you can dance all the whole weekend.
Hmm.
We literally danced the whole week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just fine,
Wow.
dance, dance, dance.
Nice.
Tiny Love was so cool that to bring out the radio, they were all cool to bring out the radio.
Nice.
And it was just like, I mean, man, those days, and even though I could tell you, well, I'm a better dancer now, I I feel like in my travels, in my classes, or in anything that I do, I kind of still bring that with me.
Hmm.
That unique love of dance, so much so that we're just gonna explore and go off. I mean, I watched Hypno and Tiny and freaking Dementia literally build a house from tutting, just tutting alone.
Wow.
Just tutting alone. They literally build a house. It wasn't about I can battle you. It was they were just building.
Wow.
Building. We were all like, this is it. This is it. I was like, this is where this is if you're an artist, you're like, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I want to see. Not even just do. I don't want to be like them, but it's this is the energy that
Right.
we need to have. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So that all of this I say, and then I'll add one more thing because I want to add Shock and Lock and Professor
Mm.
Storyboard Salim. I want to add a lot of folks like Gabriel, Dreams, Keenan, Silencer, Mr.
Mm.
Ocean. Um, I want to add the Inhumanoids. Caniso,
Okay.
they're important to me personally as friends.
Okay.
Kill, Allen, like as friends, I love them.
Hmm.
As a crew, they also did great things like Urban Renewal,
Hmm.
and they were able to put I mean, leave it to Chill to use the phrase urban renewal, which is supposed to be a racist situation.
Right.
But
Right.
right. But the idea of no, well, we'll take that and turn it into something that actually is about the renewal of us, the renewal of and some of the stuff there. And of course Hypno doing Boogie Nation. You
Hmm.
know, Boogie Nation was fantastic. That was the first time I saw a tutting battle.
What's Boogie
And I
Nation?
saw tutting of all ages
What's Boogie
up in
Nation?
there.
What's Boogie
Boogie
Nation?
Nation.
Hmm. It was an
Boogie
event?
Nation was a Hypno's event, and it
Okay.
was great. It was once again taking that Union Square energy and just putting it into a place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who did man? I mean, me and Crazy Pop kind of debuted ourselves there as the comedy poppers doing animation, and
Oh.
this the song we did. I don't know if I don't want to get canceled, but this we did feeling on your booty by a certain artist
Okay.
because we knew that was funny. Like we knew that if we animated to this, it would be hilarious because the song is ridiculous. It's
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yes.
But Boogie Nation was another epicenter of being able to not just be an artist or New York, but to just be alive and well. Um, whether and I mean every from Lockaroo to a lot of us shared a lot of the same spaces.
Mm.
So
Wow.
it was Sun Kim,
Yes.
Dazzy, Sue,
Yes. Wow.
um,
Okay.
Smiles,
Wow.
um, yeah, it was a heck of a time, and of course Jazzy, Disco Dave, and
Okay.
Disco Dave, um, Jay's our remote or Jerry, one of our great DJs, Ron, but yeah, it was one of the most creative times one that I was coming up in. Little did I know it would end up in an end game situation that it would all like not be there anymore,
Hmm.
which kind of happened. But it was amazing those times. So yeah, that is the best way I can put all the stuff that and some of the people, which there's some names that I'm trying to make sure that I remember that
Hmm.
there's so many names and so many people that I love, but my journey was I was already a nerd, and then I ran into my brothers when I was 16, 17, and they were like, "Yeah, let's dance," and then Crazy Pop, and then it was off to the races.
Wow. And Crazy Papa, so clarifying for me, it was the stop that he did, the single that just the simple minimal movement that kind of inspired or sparked that pathway to animation, if I'm hearing you. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Because he would do it on the music and it would be so cold blooded that we're
Mm.
like, and mind you, we're watching people, like I said, backflip off walls. I mean, yo, in our lunchroom, yo, let me tell you, like we would make beats on the lunch table. So it would either be the it would
Mm.
be that or so we would
Yeah.
do all of that. We would beatbox and all that stuff. And dudes would be like, I mean, waving with the spork, which is a
Yeah.
fake fork and spork, waving taking the horrible pizzas, eating them, putting them around themselves, making it
Wow.
into a
Yes.
gun. Folks would, yeah,
Wow.
there was so much.
Yes. This
Yeah,
creative
yeah, it was,
energy. This free for all playground. Free for.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So I would like to ask. So, what? Why? Okay. What inspired you to be able to stay animating for a long duration of time? Because I know there are people that will animate, or they'll for a moment, or they'll and then they kind of go back to the popping, waving robot. But when you're dancing and moving, you stay the entire time. What inspired you to stay with it? And to go so detailed that with the stops.
Going back to the training, my mindset to training of it was dime stop everything.
Just dime stop. I want to make everything. I want to stop, stop, stop. Were you? Are you
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm,
everything?
mm-hmm,
Wow.
mm-hmm. Dime stop everything, everything. And I think that training helped me to move forward in a lot of ways creatively. I
Mm.
mean, some would say, well, it held you back. You need to lose your legs. You need to do this. You need to do that. But the reality was, in order to understand it, I had to really dig. I had to make sure that everything was what could I not stop is what I was looking for.
Nice. What a now. That's a nice approach to, or a way, a direction. What can I not stop? Now I need to figure that out. Is there anything that I cannot stop? Yeah.
And outside of your heart, unless you shoot yourself, um, um,
There's still a way to stop it, right? Yeah.
right? So I felt like that training and training to songs over and over again. I would take the same song and train it over and over again.
Oh,
Yeah, because it is me comprehending not just, oh, I know where the beat is. It's me comprehending music because at the same time, training should be not just about the control of how you run into the beat, like, oh, the song said da 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 da, so I did da 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 da. It's like, no, no, no. Understanding music is better for you. It's
mm,
good to have that control and to be on beat and but the control is cool, but you need to understand music a lot more than you think because you're going to move to it unless you decide not to, which is fine,
mhm.
but you're eventually going to dance to music. So
Right.
so listening is your awareness, listening, forgiveness. Those are all things that are so very important as a dancer, just as a person, but as a dancer because that's going to be your big weapon is listening and comprehending, breaking down why did the flute, oh, the flute is beautiful, it's like this, or why is the drum so boom, oh, breaking it down on what the sounds mean, not just, oh, look, I can do this because of a battle.
Right.
It's kind of like that's not real.
Right.
So
Wow. Okay. Wow.
yeah.
Um, there's two questions that just came to
Oh,
me.
sorry,
Huh? Oh, no, no, no. Just as you're
I forgot to
speaking.
top and bop and Andre.
Oh, okay. I will. How
I
did
forgot
that?
to mention.
How did that? Those two characters. How did that play a role in your journey?
So I saw them on tape because Dementia came back from that legendary homeland
Huh.
when Flat Top is for no reason or every reason showing us the majesty of his abilities. And I just said, I looked at Crazy Pop and said, we make sense.
Mm.
I just said, see, Boogaloo.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is the terror of going through the Boogaloo age was very real for everybody. Talking to Frantic, you hearing him like I was like, yeah, it was just like if you didn't roll like this, it's over. It's like, really? That's it? Me and Crazy Pop were kind of the albatross. Me, Crazy Pop, the Inhumans. There was quite a few people who were kind of like, and I love Jazzy, but I love Jazzy as Jazzy. I didn't think I should do the way he's doing it.
Right.
And everyone started to say, well, you need to do it the way he's doing it. And I said, that's not fair to Jazzy. That's not fair to me. That's not fair to New York. And that's definitely not fair to being a person. You
Right.
cannot, I can't be you, sir. You are really good at what you do, but I cannot be you. And it was, even though I know they may not have been asking to be Jazzy, they were really looking for that style within popping, and that was it. And that was a kind of a sin of the sins of the father that I have long forgiven, but it
Hmm.
was still not a nice thing to do.
Right. Right. Right.
Dance like this or else. It's like, what? So when we saw that footage, and what was beautiful was Aki was there, Matt
Mm-hmm.
Chad was in that footage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tut Master, a few folks that you already knew who were about that life anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stretch was there. Everyone was there, and they got to see that. Oh, maybe we're not so crazy. Maybe doing our thing and training it is not so crazy. Maybe
Wow.
we're not that stupid. I'm like, no, we're not.
Right.
So for me, it just added to every time I talk about the West or think about the West or meet somebody from the West for some reason they rejuvenate my brain to say, yeah, I'm not stupid. This is right.
Wow.
I mean,
Mm.
I make mistakes, but I'm not stupid.
Right. Right.
I'm legitimate. I'm not an idiot.
No.
Whether it's Slim, who I met recently, who me and him can go off and talk about video games forever. Um, Frantic, Slick Dog, even everyone who I've met rejuvenates my mind into saying, no, I can be original. I can do my thing. I can still be inspired because I'm still inspired by folks, but I can do it and it's legitimate. You
Yes.
know, just as a person. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so I'm sorry I had to just
No, that thank you
add them
for
in there.
yes, yes. No, those are influential figures, and for sure, Flat Top and Andre have done a very what's the word when people talk about animation or robotics, their name definitely has come up, and the influence they have done, and their character very original. Wow, I would like to ask psychologically when you're animating, is there any experiences you're having mentally to get into your animation? Like, is it meditative? Is it what's going on psychologically? If you could share that. Because
So
sorry, just to add, because I feel that a lot of dance, moving fast, doing flips, exerting a lot of energy, and animation or the stopping seems to kind of go away. It's like a kind of like an opposite of that. Like I'm not going to go extreme fast exert. I'm kind of more patient, time. Like so, I'm just curious. What is your psychological experience when you're animating?
right now, because and also let's include the LA City Boppers. I love
Mm.
Scorpio. He's my
Mm.
dude. Also big up to G Wave and Goofball. The the thing about animation at this point in my life is because now I'm so had years with it. Now it's just like as simple as me picking up a fork now.
Mm. Mhm.
And it's something that I enjoy, that the energy is right there. It hasn't left. So
Mm.
because of that, all it takes is me, just uh, uh, and I'm there already. I'm in it, and but that being said, when I first started,
Mm.
outside of trying to dime stop everything, it was kind of like I was asking myself, should I be a character? Should I be this? Should I be
Mm.
that? And I tried to do as much without character and then as much with character. Um,
Mm. Mhm.
but then I found out that like actually just stop.
Just stop.
Just stop. And you will find everything you need if you just stop. And I don't mean just go one, boom, boom. I'm talking about just uh,
Mm.
you know,
Yes.
that is kind of like where I sit in at this point with animation to the point where it's like it's mentally it's almost like it's almost like I'm playing with my toys now,
Wow.
like
Nice.
fully.
Okay.
You
Nice.
know, it's like I'm playing with my toys easily. Like, oh, time to pull out my toys. When you had the crate. You remember the crate, the milk crate,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and stuff those things full of toys. I'd be like, I,
Yes.
I'm a huge. I used to love to mix the toys that I had with like the anime or movie of the day. So I would have Spider-Man learn from Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury, and he
Oh.
learned how to do the Hakioku Seiken and the Power Wave and the Power Geyser. So I
Nice.
literally have a Spider-Man made for that, like understanding that he's Spider-Man and he's still Spider-Man, but he's learned the Hakioku Seiken, so he knows how to draw the key from the earth.
Yo. I love it.
It's like it's like that. It's like that.
Okay.
Playing
Nice.
literally playing with your toys,
Nice.
and
Okay.
doing it to music as well.
Okay. What would you say is, I guess, your definition of animation? If, like, when someone asks what is animation, is there a kind of a definition that you give personally?
E- Okay, so so in recent years, and I understand where everyone is coming from in trying to define it
Mm,
so heavily.
mm,
Um, that it doesn't need character. You don't have to have character to animate. As a dancer, you can animate, and I'm just like, I I get where everyone is coming from,
mhm.
but why does everyone stop to see Flat Top
Man.
or Scorpio? I'm sorry, but you need your stops. You can wave in your stop. You can use anything in animation. Funny enough, as long as you're giving that stop, in my opinion, and
Mm,
utilizing those stops. So you can dime stop away, tutting, whatever.
right.
But animating it to me means bringing it to life. So to me, it has to go somewhere.
It has to
And if
go
it's just
somewhere.
the
Okay.
And if it's just movement for movement's sake, I mean, that can happen, you know. For me, I'm like, okay.
Mm,
And it's not because you have to tell a super story. It's like, no, but it won't connect enough for me to be animation. It has to have a little bit more than, oh, look, I stopped and then I'm going to wave now and tut and say that it's animation. It's like for me, no, I think you still need the stop. You still definitely need the stop, and you need some, maybe not storytelling, but some character. You
mm,
need a character, not a character like I'm going to pick Venom today or I'm going to
right.
pick Mega Man X. It's just more like, what are you doing with this? If you're doing your fingers right,
Right.
say it's 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, whatever you want. If I just do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that's it, right?
Okay.
That's it.
Right.
But if I go and I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm looking
Yes. Yes.
and I look away.
Yes, there's a whole. It's like a gesture mime kind of vibe, like the storyteller. This is like some. Yeah. Okay.
So for me, I think animation still. I get it. and I agree in some way that you can use anything just as is, and without injecting context to it. But we're humans, and that's what we do anyway. And even when you dance, you're still gonna inject context. So to me, I just think animation, you need stops for sure.
Mm,
How you engage those stops are up to you,
mm.
and it needs a little flavor, little
Personality?
struzy,
Like a
little
little like,
salt.
yeah, yeah, little your own human, who you are on it, perhaps. Your own flavor of how you want to look at the world and express yourself. Hmm. Okay.
Hmm. Doesn't
Okay.
have to be happy, doesn't have to be sad. It
Right.
Whatever you want it to be. I think as long as you give that, I think that's gonna work out. You
Okay.
know,
Nice.
yeah, I think it
Okay.
works out because then it keeps it from being just I'm only here and then I'm just gonna wave now. It's like that's cool, but
Hmm.
and yes, you can be animated. That's true too. But I can't say that because you're animated, you're animating, right? You still need the other side, which is the technical situation of it too. So,
What would you say is the difference between animating and being animated?
gotcha.
Yes.
Um,
Okay, so he's like, oh.
right?
Okay. Mm, 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 Yes, that was animating. You're animating there. The other one was animated with an ed at it. Okay, interesting. Okay. Um, I would like to go back to the comment about Hitmaster Fish talking about, oh, like, yeah, you got it all. Now you need a hit. How did learning a hit influence your style, or where did that take you by learning the hit?
um, so intrinsically, it and stop in some way. Literally, like it's like learning how to keep your timing
Mm,
hitting for me.
mm,
I know we're at a point where we go bah, 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 if we want to when it comes to hit, but bam, right? That two. Now you can go 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. But when you're oh, it gives you such a sense of the music that your
mm,
timing goes and says, oh, so now I know where to stop.
mm. He said, "Now I know where to stop." He's funny with
So hitting to me is good in general anyway, but it's also to at least to me, I think outside of pop lock, you look that up, right? Explosion,
right.
implosion, or if you get literal or not, it's still more like you learn your timing when you learn how to hit.
Okay.
You and though it can be said the same with the robot, because timing of the robot is really interesting because that means you can instead of a 4 4 write 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. You could do like a 60, right?
Right. Right.
And be like that and still be on beat. However, hitting allows you to not just like not keep up with the beat, but make sure that you're steady with it. So that
Mm.
means that your stops are going to be as steady with it, at least to
Ah,
me. So the two, right? Doom, 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 that snare. Now
right.
I know 1, 2. No, you can hit on the 1 and 2. I get it, but that two, doom, bang, it's the hardest part,
Right.
man. Like it's clean, it's crisp, it's the sound
Yeah.
is it's it's perfect. And when you stop on that, what's beautiful is then you can go bang, and it's so
Yes. Yes.
but that timing of the hit really helps. I always feel like with Fish, his efficiency of his footwork
Mm.
mixed with his mechanical puppet, mixed with his anime, mixed with his. I always felt like though outside and out, of course outside of making sure that you're yourself when you dance
Mm.
and being honest. I always felt like he was also trying to give folks timing so
Mm.
that they know that it's not just boom, 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 boom. That they know that no, actually, you take your time and you
Mm.
learn how to use the hit
Mm.
so
Mm.
that when you do dance a lot or do moves, you still know boom. You know what I mean? You know to
Right.
come back and
I see.
understand it. So I think hitting is at least to me, I've always felt that it was important.
The part.
Um, Especially when I met Fish, I was like, it's important, and it feeds the stop in a lot of it feeds your mind musically, and it feeds your stop as well.
Oh,
So,
okay. Nice. I like to go into waving because waving is also a style that you again people speaking highly of you, seeing it for myself, the body control, the waves with the muscles you use from your triceps to your chest to your stomach, your back. What inspired you? Because I feel I think in my opinion, I typically see people are very robotic and very stop or very fluid in a sense. Where did the fluidness, this inspiration come for you to kind of dive really deep into waving?
um, there's a movie called John Carpenter's The Thing,
Okay.
and that movie's it was from a novella. It was a remake from The Thing from Another World in the 50s. Howard Hawks, I think Howard Hughes, whatever, directed it. But if you go back, the idea of every piece of you is an animal or a person with a built-in desire to protect its own life.
Hmm.
That
Interesting.
that concept stuck with me really hard because I was a kid and I was afraid of it. But
That's
but
the
then
that's the film where they have to like burn it or tie people to a chair and they're like trying to find out
yes,
who's got the thing inside of them. Ah, okay.
the part that's interesting is there's a scene with a guy named Norris who they don't know he's the thing. They don't know at all because it's pretending to be you.
Hmm.
At times there's a lot of theories on it if you look it up that you don't even know that you're the thing until
Hmm.
it needs to do something.
Okay.
That's how crazy that is. So
Hmm.
Norris he catches a heart attack and then they place him on the bed. And throughout the movie he had been feeling his chest. He's like, "Oh, and you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So he's on the medical bed. They're going to, do the paddles on him. As they do the paddles on him, his stomach opens. His whole midsection opens and reveals teeth. The person's arms are just decimated, right? You're like, "Oh crap." Then that person drops. Then his heart, kidneys, and lungs come out, and it has his face on it.
What the?
And you're like, "What the heck?" And it has the arms that were just bitten off. Then the head of this person, the regular head, starts to scream and yell and elongate and come off and become a spider and crawl away.
Wow.
Now, when I saw that, and this is all in camera. So first of all, Jay, this is in camera. You're talking about
Wow.
Rob Bottin, John Carpenter,
Hmm.
1982. You
Wow.
know,
Okay.
and I was scared when I was a kid. I was like, "Holy mess!" But then, like Batman, I guess you become your fear. Um, dedicate yourself to an ideal, Mr. Wayne. Um, the I think I became more like, oh, wait a minute. Waving doesn't have to just be the energy that flows through, because a pond or a lake or even a river or even the sea has animals in it, has currents, things that drop on it, ships, things that make trails. And then I started to realize, oh, you can wave anything. But now, but now what that means is
Hmm.
when you're waving, and I know people do this, and I don't, it's all good, but if I'm just doing this all day, that's good. That's good training to me.
Hmm.
But once again, what are you doing with it?
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
You know, and I think for me, understanding water like CG now is wave. You know, to me, CG is wavy, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Because that is a smoother. Well, it's looked upon wavy because it's a smoother movement now,
Hmm.
and you know we can do all the it can do all these things and all that. But I find John Carpenter's The Thing a little better because it's now organized and it's coming at you at every corner.
Wow. Right.
You know, it's
Wow.
coming at you at every versus, oh, I'm just gonna flow from my arm to wrist to just undulate in a way, and it's gonna look smooth. It's gonna look great,
Right.
but that's it.
Right. Okay.
You know, then all you can do is just keep that flow going, which is fine, but it's not it's not necessarily going anywhere. You're not expressing um,
Hmm.
more of what you have. And by the way, like to me, and I've always said this, I think people have to identify if they are the element or if they're in the element or if they're being covered in the element.
Oh, that is a very much more in-depth way of looking at it. Are they the element covered by the element? Oh, okay.
Or in.
Or
So for example, if you wave like you were in embryonic fluid, that's going to be different than waving like you're in honey. That's going to be
yes.
different like you're waving in water.
Yes. Yes.
Now, you could wave like those situations as well, but I think people, because I think people are so used to tracing and things of that nature sometimes that it's almost like, yes, you're tracing, but it's not like you're taking a pen and tracing. It's more like they're almost covering themselves in the wave.
Hmm. I
Where
see.
I say, okay, that's cool, but when you're not doing that, what does it look like?
Hmm.
And then you have to adhere to that honesty of saying, oh, I actually wave more like I'm inside something versus I wave like, oh, like I am that, or I'm being pushed by wind or air. I'm
Yes.
being put, I wave like I'm being pushed by something. So it's good to understand the elements of what you are going through in waving because I think everyone can just say, well, it's just this, and then you just do this, and then that's it. But that's not really it.
Hmm.
That's not really it. So, you know, whether it comes from a pull situation where you're pulling, or whether it comes from like John Carpenter's thing, or whatever it is, I think you have to understand what that is for you so that it can work for you. You could be a puppet stuck in molasses trying to wave. What the hell does that look like?
Right, right, right. That really opens the box. That really opens possibilities and much more in-depth possibilities. And yeah, 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 yeah. I feel like what you're looking at kind of it reminds me of kind of what OGs would be watching when they were coming up with ideas and such. Like they may not have had someone that they watched to copy and like, oh, that's how they do it. I'm gonna do what they do. They were like looking at the actual sources of things and like emulating those sources. And I feel like it sounds like that's where you're on the same idea of let's emulate these actual things in life, physics, what's going on. Hmm. Hmm.
Because our
Okay.
body is part of physics.
Right.
It's unavoidable, right? Like if you every ice skater knows if you're gonna spin and you want to spin fast, but your arms are out and your legs are, you can spin fast, but you won't spin as fast or be the torpedo when your arms are in and closed. That's like
Right,
versus when your arms are out, you can still spin fast, but it won't be as fast as when your arms are in.
right, right.
You know, that's just physics. That's just what that is. And I think it's okay that as dancers, as artists, that we figure out what the physics are in our waving, in our attempt to do things. I think that's okay. I mean, some people go, oh well, but it's taking away from the funk. I'm like, no, it's not. It's actually adding to it because now I know that my rhythm, timing wise, if I'm going slower, I know what to do with my slowness. If I'm
Yeah.
going faster, I know what to do with my fastness. I know what to do because I figured out that I actually wave like I'm inside something
Yes.
instead of waving like, oh, I'm that element. You know, it's a tough situation though because you know how people want to be like, but I am this. It's like,
It's like just take a moment. Let's erase everything we know and let's take a moment together and talk about it. Because I think some people are
yeah,
like let's erase everything as just a friend talking. Let's talk about being it,
yeah,
being
exactly.
around it. Okay. I like to ask as well of the history of waving on the East Coast or in New York. I'm not familiar with what I guess how far does waving go or the influences on the East Coast?
Um, Let me see. So, well, New York was always waving.
Hmm.
You know, New York was always waving. New York was been waving for a very long time. I mean, and in their names, like you have your Louis New Waves,
Hmm.
your character Franks, you have your Shake, Chris Shake, you know,
Hmm.
who he knew how to wave his butt off, you know, shoots all the way down.
Hmm.
Um, you know, you always had like your Normskis, obviously your Mr. Wiggles, obviously your Pop Master Fables. And even though I know people have an up and down with this name, I still have to add it because I'm like, yeah, but he was waving. It was Mr. Wave. You
Mr. Wave.
know, yeah, you still had people who like New York was always waving, and it was always taking the miming situation as well.
Hmm.
Um, but what I think started to happen, right? And you had, you know, on the East Coast, you also had Domino. You had
Hmm.
Shallow. You know,
Hmm.
you had Geo. You had a whole bunch of people. But you also, what happened with waving is it waving ended up reaching a whole bunch of different styles. Like we were waving and doing brother.
Right. It looks. I would see broke up dancers like, oh look, they're waving. I could see that.
Yeah, yes. No, yeah, yeah. It became because it became part of it because New York was always had waves, and then you know when I talk about Chris Shake, and then Brian Footwork Green could wave, and then and then you know you have loose joints and then I mean everyone was waving in some way. I mean you know Crybaby from like you know he could wave like New York was always a wavy situation. I have to talk about Future,
Future.
not
Okay.
DC Future, EOF House Future.
Oh, okay.
He can wave, but he's been around for a while. And then people think, oh, he's just house until they see him wave and mix, do things, do unspeakable things that folks are like, oh shoot, that's not a game.
Hmm.
Um, so New York was always waving. It's just when it came to what waving is in terms of like, okay, are you only going to wave? Like, if are you only going to dime stop?
Right.
Unfortunately, with New York, sometimes it had an issue of like the blow up move is the best move. You know what I
Ah,
mean?
okay. Hmm.
I mean, kind of like you know, you saw what was it, Boogaloo Dan, who like did a backflip while he was strutting. it's kind of
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's kind of like that will win the battle or the
R-
day. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
That being said, waving never stopped being a part of the New York. diaspora.
Hmm.
It never really stopped. And I don't know if waving has ever, because look, when belly dancers talk about waving, they're saying, oh, we're doing tribal in some way, but it's waving. We know what the heck waving looks like.
Right.
Now, do they take it past their legs? No, not all the time. Do they take it to their feet? No, not all the time. So it's different,
Hmm. Hmm.
but people wave, but they wave. Waving, I think, is something that has probably been a part of humanity for such an undulation, been a part
Right.
of us for so long, just scientifically, that because it's a rhythm as well. It was bound to be a part of almost every
What,
show you hit. Had wave and live,
what was that?
memes.
What was that part? Can you say that one more time? It kind of glitched out. Will you say that last part?
Part when I said it worked.
Yes. The lot. Yes.
Okay, no, I was saying in New York, you had to you had to if you didn't know how to do your shoulder hits, you had to wave, glide, cut. You got to do something.
Right. Right.
And the
Right.
thing that people went to was always you were always and somebody was always going to wave. That was always a part of the diaspora.
Right. Wow.
You
Okay.
know,
Gotcha.
Hypno, Tiny, they waved their ass off. Like waving was and still is always going to be part of dancing, no matter what anyone.
Hmm.
It's always going to be there. African dancers, they do these really big things. It's like that's a wave, man. It's like
Right.
it's been in our dance for years. It's been in our dance for years.
Got it. All right. I got two more questions that I'd like to ask. The one question is, right now, where would you say you are in your journey, or when it comes to dance, this expression, art, where is there, are you, how do I say, are there certain things or goals you're like, oh, I like to achieve this, or are you kind of like, oh, I'm in New York. I'm stay in the New York City teaching, or I guess where are you when it comes to you currently in your art, in your craft, where you're at?
It's funny because creatively, I feel healthier than I've ever felt.
Hmm.
I feel real creative, but I also feel like um, all of the stuff that I've always thought about doing, I can do. In the recent Solutions uh, um, event,
Hmm.
I was able to do like one of the ideas, and I mean, I cut it short,
Hmm.
but I was able to do one of my concepts that I had always, and I've done it in front of Stacks, which big up to Stacks, Mr. Stack and Styles,
Hmm.
um, and big up to J Style as well in Canada. I yeah, I was able to do some of the things that few people know that I probably deal with, and I feel confident, but not that's not the word. I feel like I can trust myself to do it. Even if it comes out and I go, oh, that was, oh, that was, I feel confident that it will come out. So I think it's trust. I mean, I feel like I can trust myself to do the things that I've been thinking about. Like the things that I've always wanted to do in terms of the dance situation, the dance part, the artistic part of it.
Nice.
I don't feel like there's nothing I can't learn or can't do, but I feel like I have learned to be intentional more now than ever, and I
Wow.
really enjoy being intentional.
Nice.
Um, I think that is probably what's setting me apart from how I used to be. I mean, not that I wasn't intentional, but I could jumble. Anyone can jumble or get messy.
Right.
I think I'm not it's not a dirty word anymore to be like, hey, I animate and I do this, you know, um, it's not a dirty word anymore. All the werewolves can be werewolves now. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
kind of feel good about that.
Nice.
artistically. Business wise, if I had to say that, I mean, I would like to do more traveling outside of the madness that's going on right now, which I ain't going to talk about. But let's just say we got an orange leading the country
Oh,
um,
yes.
with a really bad hairdo. I actually went through something that was kind of corny recently with the wait for trying to get my identification so I can go to Canada and hang with Jay
Mhm.
Style and stuff. And it was
Mm,
just it was one of the corniest things ever. And I that is I think I would like to travel,
mm.
but I would like to travel intentionally. Like if somebody
Yes.
said, "Don't you want to go to Summer Dance Forever?" I'd be like, "No."
No, there's no
Um,
intention to, right.
no, because that I get seasick when I see like 200 people trying to pop at the same time, or like I'm like I'm like I can take ciphers. I love ciphers,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry when I see footage and then they have a tag and you see like person 159, I'm like that's not for us.
Yeah.
That is for somebody else. That's not for us.
Uh,
So
mm,
I kind of step away from that type of scenario. But I think I love hanging in spaces that have an intentional love for the art and is not bogged down by, oh, if we're late, we got to just make every round 30 seconds.
right,
You
right,
know,
right.
it's not a diss, and what I'm saying is not a diss to any other situation that has ever happened where, hey, oh, look at this battle, look at that battle. It's all good. But I just personally know that I have, sweated, cried, and bled for what I do. Therefore, I need to be intentional in making sure I respect that and be in a place that respects it. So
Yes.
I can't really be in a space where it's just like, all
Right.
right, y'all, just dance at the same time. We're gonna, I can't do that. I need to be in a space where it's like, no, you've taken the time to master this.
Hmm.
Here's your time.
Yes.
That's how I see it. So I would like to travel more, perform more, but I want it to be intentional, and not just because I can get out the country. It's like
Right. No.
I need it to be like if Martino Clock decided, hey, I have a I have a thing going on. I'll go to that. I would love to go to that. Or if Slim and Yaya, do their
The Unimate, right? The
Unimate, yeah,
animation.
I'm there for that. That's an intentional situation for me.
Right.
But if you're talking about, or in France where they had the robot battle, I was
Yep.
out there
Yep.
easily. I'm not good at finger tutting at all, but I would go just to see because I would enjoy a finger tut battle. I would like to see that. So
Nice.
I appreciate when those situations are targeted to be about the craft, the not just the science, but the spirit of it and the love of it. I feel like I know that if I go to those, I'll have a much better time than trying to fit in.
Right. Right.
I'm trying to fit in to something that I know I ain't got no business fitting in.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're using your time wisely. That's using your energy wisely. My last question I like to ask you, Big Mike, is, for people that are watching this video in the future, watching this video, what is a message you would like to leave those people with? The people that come across this here, hearing you talk. Maybe they've never met you before. Maybe they do know you. But what would be a message you would like to leave with the future generation and this generation and yeah, the world, I guess.
Come see me in Power Stone. Come see me in come see me in Street Fighter 3, Third Strike.
Oh,
Come
damn.
see me.
Okay. Okay, I'll let people
um,
know.
no, I think my Jerry Springer's final thoughts. um, there are. I've been talking to folks recently.
Hmm.
Big up to Ray. Big up to Han, big up to a few people, and I've been telling them about what your four things are. I mean, there's a big number of the things that you can use,
Hmm.
but I've narrowed it down to awareness, listening, forgiveness,
Hmm.
and even in a lot of ways your spirituality is involved, but I'll say breathing, you know.
Hmm.
The reason why I use those words is because you need awareness as a dancer, but in order for you to be aware, you need to listen. In order to listen, you need to be very forgiving and really listen and not
Uh,
get drawn out by what you hate. And even when you think about something that you hate, you have to sit and say, it's okay. I can, and then that's when you can be responsible.
yes. Yeah.
Now, I would advise everyone to spiritually find themselves as well because there's a lot of stuff that makes people a bad person right now that is just like big. You know, it's like, people right now in this world, as you know, stuff is going on. So, just find something, have some faith, not faith in just, oh, religion, but just find a level of peace and faith for yourself because it's very important, I think, as well. I believe as well. But very much make sure to listen, have your awareness, forgiveness, and I mean I keep switching the fourth. The fourth is like peace, spirituality, breathing,
Yes,
But
yes.
I guess you could say all of that, all of the above on that one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it's important to there's EJ Visual, what's up, and Soho, what's good? Eva, but yeah, just I think I think those things are very important because then as a dancer, you approach it with thankfulness. That's the fourth one. Thankfulness.
Yes.
Thankfulness. So awareness, listening, awareness, um, um, forgiveness, and thankfulness.
Nice.
You got those four things, man. You're you're on your way. It's tough though, and it won't happen overnight. It takes a while, and once you have those things as a person, it's great. But then as a dancer, there is nothing that can stop you.
Wow.
There is nothing that can stop you. But you have to go through that and really know what that is for yourself. Because then that builds love for others, love for what you do, love for you have to forgive yourself for, man, I wanted to be like this person. Why? It's like, but then you can't look bad at that other person because that's not their fault. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like there's that.
Yes.
So all of that, I think it's very important for every dancer to know, and to know about me that that's what I carry. Outside of my skills and how much I keep up with them, I do work out. Don't tell anyone. I do work out. I do work out, but it is a dancer's workout, and I do it twice.
Nice. Nice.
But that's for me personally, where it's not. So it must be weights. It must be 1,000 push-ups. It's like stuff that I know helps me to keep fresh, helps me to be able to move in a way that I enjoy, and stretching is important, water is important, and I'm also always down to performing and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
fun. Oh, and I don't do drugs.
Hey, oh, you don't do drugs. You put the
I
face
don't
like
do.
that.
I don't drink. So I'm boring.
You're, yo, you're like the most entertaining character. Um, not speaking of working out. Sorry, my last question. Big Mike, where did that name come from? Big Mike.
Oh God, no.
I'm so
Okay,
can I
so
can we end that last one? Last one.
no. You can ask as many questions. I'm fine. But okay. So here it goes. So the people around you name you, know you, right? If you've had a steadier life in one place, people in high school, da da da. So I was known as the fat kid in junior high school and things of that
Hmm.
nature. And in high school, that Fat Mike became Big Mike.
Ah, I see.
then here it comes. So then at one point I was watching Toonami and there was this one mix that they had for one of their bumpers, the music, and it was like Reign Supreme. And I was like, hey, Big Mike Supreme, Reign Supreme. That's kind of cool.
Oh.
Supreme. Yeah. Um
Ah.
um but then I meet then I meet freaking Quickstep and Rockefeller, and what's the first thing they say? Yo, that's Omega Supreme. Yo, that's Omega Supreme. Transforms Omega Supreme straight up. So now I sound like a taco. Big Mike Omega Supreme.
Big Michael Mega Supreme.
Gonna get a little Big Mike Supreme, no sour cream, put a little struzzi on it and a little cheese. I mean, get a little Big Mike Supreme. You know what I mean?
You're right, right, right.
Hold the anchovies. Hold the
Right.
anchovies.
Okay, got you. Wow.
You know,
Okay.
you're named by the people you're around at times, and sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't, but it just happened to evolve over time. So
Right. Okay. Got you. Man, the tsunami too. Damn, that brings back memories as well. But all right.
wait, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
How do
yeah.
you feel knowing the things that you've been doing, sir? How do you feel? Because we live in a world now, right,
Hmm.
where we're hiring dancers for Marvel movies. You know, we're hiring even if they don't even if they're not dancing like that, even if they're not doing what we want them to do. Doctor Strange made me go and say
Right.
because
Jay Smooth. Not Jay Smooth. Jay Funk. Jay Funk with
yeah,
the teaching. Right.
that made me go nuts because I said, wait a minute, and he did it twist because remember it wasn't just the fingers that they've been doing for the magic. That prison that they put Mads Mikkelsen in, where he
Hmm.
stepped back, boom, bam, boom, and it came down. I said, oh, that's also us. So
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
that's us,
Yeah.
that's totally us. Everyone else was like, oh, but all of us who knew, were like, no. It does take me back to Taco, the late great Taco and Shrimp at Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I see. Okay. Okay.
It does take me back to those 10 times. But how do you feel that we're starting to see people, and I mean even a Doja Cat who,
Yeah, she was a
I mean I had
popper.
issues.
She was popping in the whole crew. She was in the whole what was it called? The crew. I know that. I forget.
Yeah, yeah,
Hoodbotics. Hoodbotics. I think it was called
Hoodbotics.
Hoodbotics.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, and then
Yeah,
she. Yeah.
and although she was trying to give us some, oh, I got it from India mess, I was like, no.
She
She
said she
in
got it
some
from
interview
where?
was like, yeah, she was trying to say in some interview that I got it from India, some of these moves. I'm like, no, you didn't. But but
Okay.
eventually, we all know what's going on. And in her recent thing, she's what I do or am happy about is that it's our dance is still in the diaspora of things. Like
Yes.
it's not just a Taylor Swift situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how do you feel about where we are?
With dance being put like you're saying, the Marvel movies, Doja Cat, pop star, like how it's being seen in the media.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I see is I get excited. I'm happy because again, it's like, wow, look, it's us. It's the world that world we love. That creative, playful world is now being seen on a large platform for others to now see that creative world. And maybe some people may be like, oh, okay, that was all right. There will be some people that will be like, wow, I want to learn more, and they will find their way to the origins of the originals or the roots, or they'll find their local sessions, they'll find the community because oh, I saw that on TikTok. I mean, Fortnite. I know there's like movements even in Fortnite. I mean, NPC, the whole animation community now, NPCs being in battles, but you see NPC in the Fortnite. You see it's. I think that like I said, the first initial reaction is like, this is awesome, and also that means there's no limits of where it can be placed. I mean, for who knows, there could be some therapist that comes up with a technique that they got from some dance. Oh, animation. I want you to animate your childhood. Can you create the character and like like I think it just expands it to any possibility. There's so many possibilities of where the dance can be interjected into different communities, media, and such. So that's what I would say.
Hypno actually did that.
He what?
Hypno did that in a
Prepare.
performance.
Uh-huh.
He animated him being birthed and coming out and growing up.
See, like that's a I'm sure it was a whole emotional experience for everyone that was witnessing that. Right. It's a whole thing. So,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we're alive and well, man. That's all I gotta say. In the midst of great madness, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Yes. I'm curious on how AI is going to influence how that will influence movement. I'm always curious of technology, how technology plays a role with movement. Um, like for example, at the recent Unimate, a friend he bought called the Rizbot. It's a machine, it's a robot, and he entered the robot into the pre-selection of the robot category. And of course, the robot didn't get
Hmm.
passed, but it was entertaining to be like everyone was tripping out, like everyone's like, "There's this robot here," and like we're doing the robot and there's a robot here and it's like I'm just curious as like even the VR world, like my friend Bebotics, he is involved in the VR community and they're having dance classes in the VR world. They can create the dojo, they could create the studio on a beach, on the ocean. You want to be an alien, you could be an alien, you could do whatever you want. So it's like I'm curious on what communities are going to form, what new communities are going to form, and I don't know, yeah, just just what's possible as technology continues to advance. So,
It'll be an interesting situation. I still always think that people are going to want to see things live because
mm,
watching somebody like it's one thing when you're using a TikTok filter to help you dime stop in a certain way. It's
sure,
another thing when you actually can do it.
yes,
And
yes,
and I think that will always be there. But that being said, I mean, listen, if I ever had the dream of like, oh, you had a dream of dancing next to Michael Jackson or Aaliyah. But my thing is, what if I wanted Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid to start doing a waving and the Cobra?
yeah,
You
right,
know, like,
right,
like, why not?
why,
Like,
right,
what would that look like?
right,
So it's
yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm excited. I personally, I get excited when I think of like, oh, the possibilities. I guess maybe I'm looking more in yeah, there's a lot of thoughts on technology, AI now being talked about. But I kind of, I guess my first initial thoughts are like on a creative, playful side of like, oh wow, these toys. What can we do with these toys? Um,
Yes.
but but yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, Mike, I appreciate you taking time and sharing, and like I appreciate your energy. I feel like even just messaging you prior to this, I could feel like your energy, like radiating this, who you are, and again, it's a joy. It feels very like it's I don't know positive. It feels very joyful, hearing you speak and even watching you dance. Like it just feels real, regardless of if you're talking, if you're dancing, if you're doing it. It's just yeah, it's you, and I appreciate that. I
Well,
appreciate that.
first of all, thank you for asking me. This is your platform, and I'm beyond thankful and happy that you invited me. I try not to talk people's ear off, but then I'm
No,
not an OG yet. I said, I said when I get to 60, that's when you can call me an OG. When I
six.
get to 60,
Okay, you're
not
60.
60 yet.
Not yet. Okay,
No, no,
got you,
no, no.
got you. All
I
right.
have quite a few years before that happens. So
Do we
I'm
call
gonna
you
be.
OG? Do we call you OG Mike then, or is it OG? It would be still OG Big Mike Supreme or
It would
OG?
have to still be Big Mike Supreme. There's probably going to be another additive that's going to happen naturally. I don't know what that's going to be. I evangelized Big Mike Supreme, Big Mike
Evangelize.
Omega Supreme evangelized edition. I don't know.
Okay, okay. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that, man. All right. Well,
Something
man.
like that.
Nice, nice. Well, man, I Soho said now you've been an OG in my eyes because of the level of skill Soho wrote.
I love Soho. He's another one. Him, James Floats, their glides, man.
Hmm.
Professor Salim, Brian, all them brothers from the Flex Nations, the Mutations, all my brothers from the Brook Up, all my brothers and sisters. You know, I love you. I'm from Brooklyn. I watched a lot of y'all, and I love all of you. Just continue to do the right thing and make sure to get out of get out of the negative spaces that keep you from moving forward. Get into the positive spaces and make sure that you continue that. I love you all. Monster Hands, aka Guru, everybody.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I have nothing but love for everybody. So just continue because you know you're the only ones. Just like with Frantic, who I love. I love Frantic. It's in here. You got to let it out. You can't keep it in here because you go crazy. So you got to make sure to let it out.
Yes. Thank you
You
for
got to
that.
make sure to let it out.
Thank you for that,
Yeah. Yeah,
man.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, and big up to the not new, still new, but new folks. You got your Justin ISOs, you got your Aries, you got your Wisdoms, your Whizzes. Big up
Ah,
to,
yeah.
to Mr. Castro. Big up to everybody. I guess I'm in a position where I do, like I said, I love dance. And I love the artists who do it. We go through hard times, we go through terrible times, and we go through good times.
Right.
I hope we all, get along and are able to get along, but just everyone try to just remember to breathe and move forward.
Yeah. The forgiveness, the awareness, what was it? Wait. Forgiveness,
Listening,
awareness, listening, and
forgiveness,
awareness, listening. I know breathing, but with breathing,
thankfulness.
thankfulness. Yes, yes. The four. I like that. I'm gonna definitely put that when I cut up a clip from this. And I want to put that. But
Yes,
all
yes.
right, Mike. Well, then, hope your rest of your night's calm. And yeah, man, hope to one day, if I'm in New York and you're available, yeah, I'll let you know. Love to connect in
Or
person.
if I'm where you're at, sir. Like I said, I'm
Yes.
going to try to travel more, so I will see you as well. But
All
if
right.
you're in New York, you can write your own ticket. We're here. We got you.
Okay. Dope,
We
dope.
got you.
I appreciate that, Mike. All right,
Name
sir.
your price. All
Name your price. I got you. I got you.
right,
All right.
brother.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Peace.
Yes, sir.